Chapter 6. By the 5th day, Iris could sit up without swaying. Before, she had been something we managed, fed, turned, watched. Now she was beginning to manage herself, even if only in small ways. She asked for a hairbrush, and used it slowly, carefully, as if her scalp hurt. When she finished, she placed the brush on the bedside table, carefully lining it up with the edge. After that, she asked for clean clothes. Not borrowed ones, if possible. Her own. That wasn't going to be possible unless someone went to her house, so it would have to wait. The house had slipped into a new pattern around her. There was always someone upstairs, even when they were doing something else. Folding washing on the bed, sorting bandages, furtively organizing boxes of nasal spray. Eden continued to look after her wounds. He was much the best of us at that, with his steady hands, low voice, and innate compassion. Claude was everywhere trying to be helpful. Tim noticed everything. Noah worried aloud, which was his way of coping. I watched while my mind ran around ceaselessly trying to find a way out of this problem we'd brought on ourselves by taking in a wounded woman. What's that saying? Be sure your good turns will find you out. Something like that. Iris ate a little more each day. Still carefully, still slowly, but with a sense of purpose now, as if nourishment were no longer just about survival, as if she had a mission now. She began to ask questions. How long had she been here? What day was it? Had anyone been to her house? Not that we know of, I said. None of us have. Things have been unsettled. She nodded, as if that confirmed something she already suspected. They won't leave it, she said. Not like that. Who? Eden asked. Who won't leave what? She glanced at him, and then away. Anyone who does things properly. Eden looked at me. I shook my head slightly. Not yet. She wasn't strong enough yet. That evening, Iris asked if she could stand, just for a minute, just to see if she could. We helped her to her feet, Noah and I on either side. Her legs trembled but held. She stood there, breathing carefully, eyes shut, and for a moment she looked almost peaceful. I need to go back, she said. No one spoke. Not now, she added, opening her eyes. But soon. To where? Noah asked, though he knew the answer. My house, she said. There are things there that need doing. What sort of things? He said. She smiled faintly. The sort that don't get done if you disappear. After that, the atmosphere in the house changed again. It became apprehensive. We spoke less freely around her. We were less spontaneous. Eden stopped bringing his seedlings into the house to show us the latest marvel of nature. Claude began checking the road more often, though there was nothing to see. Iris asked for her keys the next morning. We'll have to look for them, I said. The spare set will be where I left them, she said, in an artificial rock in the bed around the pond. I went downstairs and found the others gathered without having planned to gather. She wants her keys, I said. Noah swore under his breath. Eden said, We can't send her back there. We can't stop her either, Claude said. No one contradicted him. Tim put his paper down. Once she goes back, he said, she becomes a danger to us. She already is, Noah said. She's a wife whose husband was murdered. They'll be expecting her to reappear, won't they? Exactly, Tim said. And when she does, they'll ask her what happened. And she'll tell them, Eden said. Yes, I said. She will. Noah pushed himself upright. We could delay. She's not well yet, that's true. Delay for how long? Claude asked. As long as we need. Tim shook his head. That only works if something changes while we're waiting. I can't think what's going to change. Iris slept through most of the afternoon. When I checked on her before supper, she was awake, watching the light creep across the opposite wall. I don't want to cause trouble, she said, without turning her head. They'll want a statement, she went on. That's normal. Yes, it looks worse if I don't go back, she said. People will notice. Yes, I said again. She turned then properly and looked at me. There was no accusation in her eyes, no appeal, just resolve. I won't lie, she said. I can't. When I went downstairs, they were waiting for me. She's decided, Eden said. Yes, I said. Noah rubbed his face with both hands. So what do we do? I looked at each of them in turn. The house was quiet, but not in the way it had been before. This wasn't respect or care or fear of noise. This was the quiet of people who understand that something is moving and they might get run over by it. We talk, I said. Now, properly. I shut the door carefully and sat at the table. Noah dropped into a chair and immediately stood up again. Claude stayed where he was. Eden took the chair nearest the door. No one spoke at first. That in itself was unusual. We were not a group given to reverent silences. Well, Noah said eventually, we need to decide what we are and aren't prepared to do, Tim said. Claude snorted quietly. That sounds like we've got options. We do, Eden said. They're just not nice ones. I nodded. Good. Let's hear them. Noah went first. She's not fit to go yet, he said. That's not a lie. She's still weak. She still gets dizzy. We could slow this down. For how long? Tim asked. A week, 2 maybe. And then what? Claude said. Noah spread his hands. Something might change. That's not a plan, Claude said. It's not nothing, Noah shot back. You don't just push someone out the door when they can barely stand. No one's suggesting pushing, Eden said. Noah's right about one thing. We can justify delay, medically, practically. And morally? Tim asked. Noah bristled. What's that supposed to mean? Tim didn't rise to it. It means delay becomes restraint if the person knows what you're doing. And she will, Eden said quietly. She's not confused. She's choosing what she wants to do. Claude shifted his weight. Then we don't let her leave. The room went still. That's it? Noah said. That's your solution? I didn't say it was nice, Claude said. But in terms of our safety, what else is there? You mean lock her in, Noah said. Claude shrugged. I mean we don't assist her in walking into a situation that destroys us. That's imprisonment, Eden said. It's containment, Claude said. Words matter. They do, Eden said. And that one's wrong. Claude pushed himself off the wall. You think the Grimms will care what we call it? That's not the point, Eden said. We don't become the same as that which is trying to beat us into submission. Claude laughed without humour. It's easy to have high principles. It's not so easy to pay for them. Claude, I said. You're not wrong about the outcome. You are wrong about the cost. Claude looked at me. What cost? Us, I said. If we hold her here against her will, we've crossed something we don't come back from. And if we don't, he said, we're finished. Tim cleared his throat. Let's be precise. Everyone turned to him. If she goes home, he said, she becomes the official account. They'll take a statement. She'll tell them the truth as she understands it, that her husband was killed, that she didn't do it, that others intervened. She doesn't know who, Noah said. She doesn't need to, Tim said. They'll narrow it down. Time, place, pattern, other witnesses, neighbours. And then, Eden said. And then they look at who benefits, Tim said. Who has form? Who is already suspect? They'll start with her. She'll be kept safe while they help her remember details. She'll talk. People always do. She won't lie, Noah said. She won't even think she's betraying anyone, Tim said. She's not looking at it from the point of view of people helping her. She's only looking at it from her husband's point of view, the only one she's been taught to consider all these years. Silence again. We could move her, Eden suggested. Somewhere else, a refuge, another house. Without telling her why, I said. Yes, Eden said, or telling her part of it. That's still coercion, Noah said. Just dressed up. It might even also be kidnapping. And it doesn't solve the problem, Claude added. If she wants to go home, she won't stay put. What? She'll leave the first chance she gets. She might not, Eden said. Claude looked at him. You really believe that? Eden didn't answer. I said, she's already decided. You don't reverse that by offering a distraction. Tim nodded. If you move her, you also create a new trail, new people, new questions. It multiplies risk. So what? Noah said. We do nothing? I looked at him. I won't imprison her. I won't move her like cargo. I won't lie to her. And I won't sacrifice this house. And what's left? Noah said, his voice thin. Nothing squeaky clean, I said. I'd had an idea. I wasn't very happy with it, but it was another option. We could hand her over to the Blood Sisters. She could be their problem. No one reacted at first. Not even Claude. It was Eden who spoke. You mean give her back? Yes, I said. They intervened once, to save her. I can explain the situation so they know the risk she poses now. And they'll know what to do with her, Claude said. Will they, though? Noah asked of no one in particular. It would remove her from here, Tim said. Which is the whole point. It also absolves us, Noah said. We wash our hands of it. I looked at him. Not exactly. We pass the problem to someone who understands it better than we do. And if they decide she can't be allowed to walk free, Eden said. That's their decision, Claude said. Not ours. Eden shook his head. That's convenient. There's another problem, Tim said. Iris doesn't see the Blood Sisters as saviors. She sees them as murderers. She doesn't know who they are, Noah said. She knows enough, Tim replied. Enough to resist being handed over to them. Enough to fight it. And if she fights, Eden said, then we're back at force. Yes, I said, which is why this only works if she agrees. Claude snorted. She won't. No, I said. She probably won't, but we must try. It's the only option that doesn't end with us either locking her in or watching her walk into a processing center. And I won't do either without exhausting everything else first. Eden said quietly, You'd be asking her to disappear. Yes. To give up her house, Noah said. Yes. Claude folded his arms. And you think she'll accept that? I think, I said, that when she understands what justice looks like now, she might. Tim's mouth twitched. That's a risk. Everything's a risk, I said. Noah pushed his chair back hard enough that it banged into the table. This is madness. You're talking about negotiating with a woman who's just been beaten half to death and telling her she has to vanish for our sake. For her sake as well, Claude said. Noah rounded on him. Don't you dare dress this up as mercy. Claude held his ground. I'm dressing it up as survival. I let them look at each other for a moment before I said, Enough. They all turned to me. If Iris chooses order over safety, I won't stop her, but I will make sure she understands the price. I gazed at them. Noah, shoulders hunched as if he were bracing against a blow that hadn't landed yet. Eden, hands deep in his pockets, staring through the window as if he could see something beyond that the rest of us couldn't. Claude, watchful. Tim at the table, still as a set piece, eyes alert. My people. My found family. The only reason I still bothered to draw breath in a world that had made the very act of breathing an act of defiance. I loved them with a ferocity that surprised me, even now. I would do anything to keep them safe. You stay here, I said, and shutting the breakfast room door behind me, I went upstairs to the spare room. Iris was sitting up in bed, propped against the pillows, her hair brushed, her face still marked, but no longer tense with pain. I need to talk to you. I said, closing the door behind me. She nodded. I thought you might. I pulled a chair closer to the bed and sat down. This conversation stays between you and me. No one else, not even the lads. Do you understand? She frowned. Why? Because if anyone else hears it, I said, it puts you in danger. That caught her attention. She straightened a little. What kind of danger? The kind that doesn't look like danger until it's too late, I said. The kind that comes with paperwork and an uncomfortable cell with not enough to eat for the rest of your life. Or maybe a concentration camp. She didn't like that. I could see it. She had faith in paperwork, but she didn't like the idea of the camp and starvation. I've heard things, I went on, about what's being said, about what they think happened. She frowned. Said where? By the people who decide these things. A pause. Then, more carefully, decide what? Decide that you were there, at the scene of the murder, I said. Her mouth opened, then closed again. But I didn't do anything. You're the obvious killer, I'm afraid, I said. The colour left her face. You're saying they think I'm saying they won't look any further than you unless they're forced to. She stared at me, breathing shallowly now, the shape of it finally forming in her mind. They think I killed him, she said. That's right. I didn't, she said at once. I never. Maybe not, I said. That doesn't matter, I'm afraid. She stared at me. Of course it matters. It doesn't to them, I said. You were there. You lived with him. He's dead. You're alive. That's enough. I didn't also add that simply being a woman meant she'd take the blame one way or another anyway. Her hands curled into the blanket. I'll tell them the truth. You believe me, don't you? Well, I'd like to, of course. You know, murdering people isn't such a great thing to do, but you've got to admit, it does look bad. You can try to tell them your version of the truth, I said. But I'm afraid you'll make it worse. She shook her head. I'll tell them about the women, the two who came. They saw what he was doing. They stopped him. They murdered him. I watched her as she said it, saw how certain she was that this was the right thing, the proper thing. And it hardened my heart, which had been faltering. If she was so happy to drop her saviors into that kind of trouble, then I was happy to stop her. They won't believe you, I said. Why wouldn't they? I leaned forward. Because in their version of the world, two strange women don't walk in off the street and kill a man for beating his wife. Wives kill husbands, especially wives who've been beaten for years. Her face drained slowly of colour, but at least I saw a tinge of doubt now. They'll say you're lying, I went on, or confused, or protecting yourself. They'll say trauma does things to memory. They'll say you're trying to shift blame. They'll have to listen, she said, but her voice wasn't nearly so certain now. They won't, I said. They'll already have decided what happened before they sit down with you, if they bother to sit down with you. Silence stretched between us. But you saw them, the women. I saw a couple of women who went out of their way and risked their lives to get you some help. I didn't see anyone who looked like a murderer. Although I was pretty sure it would be the blood sisters who'd killed the husband, I didn't know that. It could just as easily be Iris. The only reason I doubted it was her was because I'd seen it in Thea. I'd seen this same denial. My lovely, vibrant, smart Thea had been so conditioned to believe everything was her fault that in the end, she'd not fought for survival as hard as she would have done if she'd believed otherwise. And of course, he got away with it. Of course he did. Poor thing. The provocation from his wife would make any man in his right mind to want to stop it. With finality, yeah, sure. Despite that, however, I was not going to allow Iris, beaten and groomed as she was, to ruin the lives of the 2 blood sisters who rescued her, or the 4 neighbours who rallied around and sheltered her, and nursed her back to health at great risk to themselves. Not a chance. So I squashed any bad feelings that were floating around in my head and remained firm. So what am I supposed to do? She said finally. There it was, the crack. You could leave, I said. Her eyes flicked up. Leave? Yes, disappear, not go home, not speak to anyone official, not give them the story they want. And go where? She asked. Somewhere safe, I said. Somewhere they won't look. She laughed weakly. There's no such place. There are places, I said, just not ones you can find on your own. She studied my face. You're talking about them. I didn't deny it. The women, she said, the ones who saved me. Yes, her mouth tightened. But they murdered him. Maybe, I said. Maybe not. She shook her head. He wasn't always. I held up my hand. I didn't want to hear it. You don't have to justify him to me. Tears welled in her eyes, sudden and furious. You don't understand. I understand exactly, I said. I just don't agree. She turned her face away. When she spoke again, her voice was smaller. If I go with them, then I lose everything. Yes, you lose your house, I said. Your neighbours, your history here, your current name. And if I don't, then you lose your freedom, possibly your life. She pressed her hands to her eyes. I just wanted to get justice for him. He's already had the justice he deserved, I thought, but obviously I wasn't about to say it. I couldn't think what to say, so I said nothing. She looked at me then, properly afraid at last. What do I do? I hesitated, and she saw it. You don't want to help me, she said. I have already helped you. I don't know if I can help you anymore, I said. Helping you puts me and the others here at risk. She'd also been in the tunnel that was supposed to be such a secret. She stared at me, searching my face for something other than what I was offering. Then she reached out and caught my sleeve. Please, she said, I don't want to die in a place like that. I don't want to have to share barracks with God knows how many others and fight for every scrap of food. Finally, she was thinking of herself before her waste of skin husband. Finally, the blood sisters were used to women like Iris. Women who still clung to the idea that their husbands had been good men, really. Women who thought love and violence could share a roof. They would know how to deal with her better than I could. I covered her hand with mine. If I do this, I said, you don't talk about this house. Ever. You don't tell anyone how you got away. And you don't come back here. I won't, she said immediately. I swear. I watched her for a long moment, weighing her fear against my own. Whatever she said, I couldn't afford to believe her. I would have to safeguard us in case she had an attack of the conscience and dropped us all in it. Rest while you can, I said. I'll see what can be done. When I stood to leave, she caught my hand again. Thank you, she whispered. I didn't answer. I wanted to say, you're welcome, but I couldn't force it past my lips. This woman was prepared to destroy 7 people who'd helped her for the sake of some warped idea of justice. I did not believe she'd suddenly changed her whole way of thinking. This woman would be a danger to us for as long as she drew breath. I closed the door behind me and stood there a moment. Downstairs, my people were waiting. I would do anything to keep them safe. When I entered the breakfast room, Noah was the first to ask, "What did she say?" She agreed. To what exactly? To disappear, to go with the Blood Sisters. I moved to the table and sat. She's frightened. She knows the Grimms are more than likely to charge her with the murder. She knows what the camps are like. Tim's eyes narrowed. She actually said that? Not in those words, but yes. Eden shifted. You believe her? No, I said. But I made it clear what would happen if she didn't keep her mouth shut. She knows she's as good as dead if she goes home and they pick her up there. So we contact the Blood Sisters, Noah said. Arrange a handoff. Yes, as soon as possible. Tonight, if it can be arranged. And if she changes her mind? Tim asked. I met his gaze. She won't have the chance. The relief in the room was palpable. Right then, Claude said. Let's sort the details. We spent the next 20 minutes working through logistics. Who would make contact? Where the handoff would happen? What Iris would take with her? What story we'd give if anyone asked? Noah volunteered to go. Eden insisted on accompanying him. Tim sketched a route that avoided patrols. Claude went to fetch medical supplies from the attic. I watched them organize themselves around the problem, grateful that we'd found a way through this that didn't destroy us, just because we'd helped someone. I'll check on her, Eden said. Ask her if there's anything else we can do for her before she leaves. As he opened the door, an icy draft swept through the breakfast room. We all froze. That only happened when the front door was open. We were already moving. Out of the room, down the hall. The lobby door stood wide open. So did the front door. Cold air rushed in. Racing upstairs, we found the spare room was empty. The bed was tidy. Her shoes were gone. The borrowed clothes we'd given her were folded neatly on the chair. She'd dressed, made the bed, and walked downstairs while we were talking. She'd let herself out of the house while we were making plans. Claude pushed past Noah into the room. He looked around as if Iris might be hiding somewhere. Where would she? Home, I said, or the nearest enforcement station. Doesn't matter which. I didn't add that we were sunk either way.